Welcome in. I almost said Tuesday. Wednesday live chat for this week's Zurich Classic, the team event. Bring a friend along. We'll discuss it any way you want. Actually, I don't know how long this is going to be because it doesn't seem to be a lot of questions. Go ahead, drop your questions, comments, and concerns in the chat right now, and I will go through as many as you want, as many as possible. We can talk through ownership. We can talk about strategy. We can talk about the teams. We can deep dive players. We can talk about one and done if you are playing one and done this week. I don't really care. This is all on you. Whatever you guys want to do, we will rock and roll along the way. I will also say kind of a last call for anybody who wants to be in the draw to win that Homakawa Dodgers jersey. So I'll just show you. So I'm an idiot, and I picked up a couple of these last week, or when they announced it and they finally came a couple of days ago. So I've got these Dodgers Homakawa jerseys, which I think are funny and whatever. So very simple to get in the draw. If you are subscribed to my newsletter, which there's a link in the description, you're in already. If you follow me on Instagram, you're in already. Like, that's it. So go do one or both of those things, and I'll probably pick it. I'll actually probably pick it in a couple of days, but last time might be the last time I talked to you before then, so I figured might as well talk about it. All right, let's get into this. Matt says 25th in my one and done. Do I burn Xander or do I go with Billy Horschel? So it kind of depends on how many golfers that there are, but I think the answer is Billy Horschel. So the other thing to remember is what are your rules, right? So the way that you phrase this makes me think that you only have to burn one of those golfers. So if you only have to burn one, that's good. Now, do you only get the money for one of them, or do you get the money for both of them, which is kind of the other story? So it depends on what your situation is. If it's 1 and 1, I think you go with Billy Horschel here. I don't love the idea of burning Xander for a $1.2 million upside. I just don't. I think if you play in a one and done where you get both their money, I think it's actually more appealing to burn Xander and Cantlay to try to get 2.4 million. But I think if you're only getting the $1.2 million upside, you have to go here with Billy Horschel. I realize it has not been good. I am hopeful that Billy, in kind of this awkward, different little format, which he generally thrives in, and Sam Burns tagging him along, that they can find a little bit something. So I think the answer there is probably Billy Horschel. Spoiler alert says, hey, Rick, I'm top 80 and you're one and done. So that's out of 1,100. That's pretty good. Torn between Olesen and Fitzpatrick this week. Any thoughts? So the Thorborn Olesen, you could go with Højgaard if you want. There's really no reason to play one over the other. I guess you would go with Thorbjorn because Højgaard's now a special temporary member, so maybe he goes nuts over the course of the next couple of weeks or months, and he becomes a really viable option for later in the season. But Olesen's been great. Right, he's played 5 times in or his last 5 starts on the DP World Tour. He's got 5 top 20s. It includes a win. It includes 2 other top 6 finishes. The ball striking numbers are there. I don't know if they have experience playing together, but they're both Danes, right? They're both from Denmark, so maybe they've crossed paths. They've probably got a decent rapport. I don't mind this at all. I thought they were pretty mispriced in the DFS market. And I think they've got a lot of upside, 2 talented, really strong golfers. And honestly, when you start looking through the field, and what I did on RickRunGood.com is where it made sense, I combined the fields. There's not a lot of guys that I think have a great rapport, whether it's experience or they know each other. Obviously, the Cantlay Schauffele team, Tom Kim and Siwoo, Billy Horschel and Sam Burns, David Lipsky and Aaron Rai. But like outside of that, and the Fitzpatricks, obviously, Ryder Redmond, like the Højgaard Olesen group might have the 8th best rapport out of anybody. So I don't mind that. Long story short, I'm probably going there. Factoid, last week's Heritage had more Sunday lead changes than the last 4 majors have had combined. Yeah, when DJ runs away with it, when Hideki runs away with it, when Scotty runs away with it, and then when John Rahm runs away with it. Yeah, I guess you're not going to have many lead changes. Montgomery and Kitayama, they could be Montayama or the Fitzpatrick brothers. So this one's actually pretty tough. I'll admit, I'm quite high on the Fitzpatrick brothers, maybe too high. You know, Matt is phenomenal. Alex is a very, very good golfer. Alex is probably better than a lot of guys in this field. Great rapport, lots to play for, all that fun stuff. But I do think that the Kitayama Montgomery group is interesting because they're two Vegas guys. They definitely play together. They definitely know each other. They definitely have a good feel for each other. They have a lot of skills. Montgomery hasn't been particularly great as of late, but he drives it far. He putts well. That is valuable in this format, right? When you're playing alternate shot, if you get to bomb it off the tee, Kitayama gets to hit the second shot, and then Montgomery gets to roll it. That's good. Yeah, he's capable of making some big numbers, but he can start getting hot with the putter as well and start making some birdies. So I still probably lean these guys because as high as I am on Alex Fitzpatrick and the Fitzpatricks in general, I probably understand that I'm too high on them and I'm giving Alex Fitzpatrick too much credit. So I'll reluctantly go with Kitayama and Montgomery. Do you think course history is important this week? Who has played here the most? So I can pull this up. You have to remember, so this is, again, RickRunGood.com. Go to the Holy Grail. Go to strokes gained. We can do the Zurich Classic. So you have to remember, this event's been around for a really long time. And this is now the 6th year of it being a team event. And when you see the strokes gained numbers, you're going to see a combination of team event and individual event for most guys. And the team event, so basically the way that this reads is, David, this is a perfect example. David Lipsky and Aaron Rye both have 4 rounds, both at 1.89 strokes gained per round. That is their team, right? So their team gained 1.89 strokes to the field. Doesn't necessarily say whether Aaron Rye played better than David Lipsky or vice versa. So take that for what it's worth. So who has played here the most? Well, Jason Duffner's played here the most. He's got 35 rounds under his belt. He won this event in 2012. Not all of them are super recent. Played here the last 2 years, 19, 18, and 17. Then there was a 4-year gap. Got a couple of top 5 finishes along the way. Missed his last 3 cuts. Steve Stricker's played here a lot, 23 rounds. Again, his better stuff was further ago. It was 2012, 2011, 2009. Billy Horschel is next. Great history. Billy Horschel is the only guy who's won this as an individual and as a team. He's got 4 team starts. His last 4 team starts are all inside the top 13. Patrick Cantlay is here as well. No surprise to see Sam Burns here. Just trying to see if anybody else jumps out. Ryan Palmer's played here a ton. 40 rounds, 1.01 strokes gained per round. He won this with John Rahm in 2019. He finished 7th in 2021. He finished 18th last year. He has a T4 as an individual in 2012. So hopefully that gives you a good idea. If you go to RickRunGood.com, you can go through as many of these as you want. But remember that for guys who just have the team events, that they are they're being split, not being split. They're both getting the same number of strokes gained. Hello, Mr. Gehman. Down a lot in a one and done. Would you consider using Alex Fitzpatrick to gain access to Matt? Would be a high leverage at near 1% ownership. Yes, I will tell you that. So not all of my one and dones are requiring a pick this week, but in my one and dones where I'm pretty far behind, I've used Alex. I just think I've actually used them. I've actually used Alex in a couple of different scenarios. I think getting access to Matt is very, very valuable. And if you're not going to use the 2 big teams, Cantlay, Xander, Morikawa, and Homa, getting access to Matt Fitzpatrick is basically the next best thing. So I have used them there. Brian says, my league uses up to 6 golfers chosen based on world golf rankings, up to 18 points for the week. Wondering if I diversify or load up on Xander and Cantlay and use the extra points to grab some low-hanging fruit. So I don't 100% understand how that works, but maybe this will help provide an answer. I think that, and I don't think, Cantlay and Xander are by far the best team in this field, by far. Not only statistically, when you aggregate their strokes gained, like I've done here on the power rankings, and you realize that on average, they're together at 1.87 strokes gained per round. That's insane. So them together over the last 36 rounds, 1.87. That is, let's see if I can find a good example of this. And I just want PGA Tour rounds. By the way, I've got the other fields loaded as well. Live, Euro, Korn Ferry, Senior Tour. So 1.87 is essentially, well, of course I was going to get that. I was trying to have it be like, okay, so that is like better than Jordan Spieth's last 36 for both of them, right? Like that's insanity. And then there's a big gap between them and Morikawa and Homa. And then there's a big gap between Homa, Morikawa, and the rest of the group. So I think it's very clear they're the best players here. If you had an opportunity to load up, I think that you probably should. And that doesn't even take into account the The fact that they are 4-0 in President Cup and Ryder Cup situations in alternate shot, right? Which is the hardest part of this. Colin says, hey, Rick, thanks so much. Love the content. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Can we deep dive the South Africans of MJ Duffy and Eric van Rooyen? They look very intriguing to me. Sure. So we'll do Eric first. Where is he? Here he is. Should have typed in more of his name. So he's coming off a couple of missed cuts. T56 in Punta Cana, T10 at Valspar. Hits it. Can hit it well on approach. Not very good in the other categories. Started to turn the corner at the beginning of the year. Not seeing as much of that as of late. MJ Duffy is here. He's been a lot better. Yeah, he's been really good, actually. I don't know what his status is because it doesn't look like he's played a lot, but since Pebble Beach, he's made 6 straight cuts, a handful of top 25s in there, gaining basically across the board, can get hot with the putter. That's good in this format. Drives it well. This is a pretty, that's not bad. That is not bad at all. Let's see what they rank together. It's probably not very good. MJ Duffy and EVR. Have I gone past them? Maybe I went past them. It's harder to find names like this, but that's actually not a bad, it's not a bad little stat profile. For Rainmakers on DK, who would your last guy in be? English, Brandon Wu, English again, or Ryder? I already have Kitayama ahead of them unless you disagree. I would probably put English in. Listen, this is a very unpredictable event, right? Should we talk about that a little bit? It's very, very unpredictable. There's a lot of luck involved. You cannot make pars. Like, you just have to make birdies. It's hard. There's a lot of mental stuff involved. If you want to take any level of crossover to like these weird events or these team events, Harris English has won the QBE shootout with Matt Kuchar 3 times, and they play the same format, right? Guys like Billy Horschel who thrive in like the match play and in this play. Like, I think it's a real thing. So I would probably say English there. What team would finish better? John Daly and David Duval, or John Rahm and Rick Gehman? I just kicked my camera. That was so funny. Oh boy. Well, let's think about this. We have to play best ball. So we would take John Rahm's score on day one. So is John Rahm by himself going to beat John Daly and David Duval twice? Maybe. We would really struggle in alternate shot. So I still think it's Daly and Duval, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. When you're looking at recent form, when you're looking at players with poor recent form, does the fact that this course isn't super challenging make any more of them willing to? Yes. Yeah. So listen, I think there's a couple things about recent form. I think you should be more willing to throw it out this week than any other week. I think we're going to see some very random teams from down here be in the mix, right? We're going to see like Trevor Cohn and Andrew Novak get hot, right? Like, we're going to see like all of these guys, all of them, no matter who they are capable of piling up birdies. And if they ham and egg it properly, they could go really, really low. We saw, what was the Richie Warinsky, Peter Uline last year or the year before? That was like an alternate situation. They like got paired together on Wednesday and they went out and finished inside the top 10 or inside the top 5. There's going to be some of that. I also think that the elite guys, Homa, Keith, I don't want to throw Keith Mitchell into elite, but Keith Mitchell's very good. Billy Horschel's very good. They're more willing to turn it around without foreshadowing than others. So I think you should generally throw it out this week. Rick, thank you for sharing the optimal lineups every week. I noticed the average optimal lineup is around 48.6, but the most recurring are 49.0, 49.3, 49.6, 49.4. How would you target? So here's what I do. And I share these in my newsletter. So here's last week's optimal lineup. Cantlay, Fitzpatrick, Spieth, Grillo, Buckley, Davis. That's right. Cantlay was the best fantasy scorer last week, despite not even making the playoff because he had an ace. So chew on that. The way that, and actually last week's was 50,000. So I share this every week in my newsletter. Go sign up for it. I generally, when I don't want to rule out $50,000 lineups, but when I go to the custom model, generally what I'll do is I'll just change the salary range from like between 48.5 and 5. Oh, you can't see it. I'm in the way. Down here at the bottom, just change it to like 48,500 to 50,000, ramp up the randomness a little bit, and I'll get a lot of lineups that are not 50K, and that'll generally give me enough exposure to it. So I don't want to target 49.9 exactly. I don't want to target, whatever exactly, but embrace it a little bit. Rhonda says, is it worth it to play the top duo at 50% or mathematically smart to play Homakawa instead at half the ownership? I think if you're not going to play Cantlay and Xander, you've got to be more different than Morikawa and Homa. I have him at 25% right now. That's Mike Cavalunas who does the ownerships on these. He's great. I think if you're not going to play those guys, you have to go either skip the 10K range and it altogether, or like play Sungjae and Keith Mitchell at 15%. I just don't know if there is enough. Like, I worry about Morikawa and Homa, right? Same thing as Morikawa and Victor last year. Like, it's hard to do this for the first time. Experience matters. So I'd almost rather skip Cantlay, and if I'm going to skip Cantlay and Xander, and just go to Tom Kim and Siwoo Kim. Or what about if you start Tom Kim, Siwoo Kim, Billy Horschel, Sam Burns, boom, boom. I'd almost rather prefer that. Yeah, what does the betting card look like? I at this point, I've only made one bet. It's the Fitzpatrick's at 35-1. I don't know if I will make another. If I do, it might just be a big bet on Cantlay and Xander. I'm not sure if I'm ready to get there yet. So I only have one in right now, and it's the Fitzpatrick's. There's a chance I go to Horschel and Burns, but right now it's one. Who's going to win this week? Probably Xander and Cantlay. And you are correct that there is no Jock market this week. Could Lingmerth and Blixt be an option? Let's check on them. A couple of countrymen, right? Blixt won this event with Cam Smith. This was the first time they played a team event. Jonas Blixt and Cam Smith won it. Blixt has played fine. So he's made 3 of his last 5 cuts. One was a top 20 at Pebble Beach. One was a T7 on the Korn Ferry Tour. Other than that, it's been pretty ugly. Let's look at Lingmerth, who I feel like has been better, but I'm not sure I've tracked Lingmerth as much recently. Yeah, it's been fine. He's made 5 of his last 6. T6 at the Players, T27 at Valspar, T10 at Honda. Yeah, this is okay. You get a Blixt vibe in a good format with somebody he knows, and Lingmerth, who's been playing better golf, and they are very, very cheap, I believe. I think they are 60. So much harder to find guys when their names are listed like this. Blixt and Lingmerth. Here we go. $6,300. Yeah. So much harder to find guys. Top 50 in a 600 person one and done. Play Thorbjorn to make a move or play Horschel to keep up with everyone ahead of me. If you're in the top 50, you should probably play Horschel. Because I don't think everybody in the top 50 is going to play Horschel. So you could make up ground on a lot of those guys and get one of the top 5s. The jerseys are sick. It was a cool idea. Yeah, I thought so at the time. I still think so. But as I was ordering them, I was like, am I bizarre? I don't know. Rick, I've decided on taking Tom and Siwoo for one and done on Office Football Pool. Which guy should I use and which guy should I save? Kind of feels like there's a better chance I'll use Siwoo at some point. Interesting. Oh, boy, that's a good question. Well, you could definitely use Siwoo at Wyndham, right? Or really any Pete Dye course later. But we're already through the Players, which you weren't going to use them anyway. You're not going to use them at a major. You're probably not going to use them at Travelers. Probably not going to use them at the Memorial. Probably not going to use them. Unless you're going to use him at Wyndham, I think you should use him now. I think there is probably a chance you could use Tom Kim later. Is Tom Kim going to play the Travelers when everybody else takes it off after the U.S. Open? That would be kind of interesting. And I think there's going to be a couple other spots that Tom Kim's like the favorite in, or at least one of. I don't know. It's a really good question. I would probably use Siwoo, but I'm not super excited about that. How are you feeling about Dietrich and Perez? Yeah, if you've been following along, I love both of these guys. Hey, Rick, can you break down how two groups, Cantlay and okay. So it says Cantlay and On and Kim both pulling over 50% ownership projections. I have so you're not wrong. I have Benny On and SH Kim at 32%, not 50, but you're not wrong. They're basically by far the best team in the 7K range. So how it impacts my strategy is don't play them. I mean, seriously. I think I'd rather play a 42% Patrick and Xander, who I know exactly what I'm getting, versus a 32% Benny On and SH Kim. So the next question I see is about pivots. So the pivots in the 10K range are probably the best one is probably Sung Jae and Keith Mitchell. The 9K range, the Kitayama, Taylor, Montgomery group, and the Tom Kim, Siwoo Kim are getting a lot of steam. Why not play Wyndham Clark and Bo Hostler? They have experience here, not together, but they have experience. Wyndham Clark is the best fantasy player, or one of the best fantasy players of the year. He has gained fantasy strokes on the field in 13 straight events. It's the longest active streak on tour. If you subscribe to my newsletter, you'd already know that. But Wyndham Clark has actually gained as many fantasy points as Max Homa has this year. So why not go to him and Bo Hostler as far as a pivot goes? 8K range. So pivoting off of the Fitzpatricks, I think the logical one would probably be the Canadians of Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin, or Taylor Moore and Matthew Neesmith. Neesmith's been horrible. Moore's been awesome. If we are resetting everybody back to 100 round baselines, Neesmith is way better. So why not that group at basically a quarter ownership? The 7K range, I think I already talked about. Getting off of Benny On and Siwoo Kim and going to see, this is why I would go to Eric Cole and Sam Saunders at 7%. And then the 6K pivot I don't think is necessary because nobody is getting a ton of ownership. Hey, Rick, how do you find the ownership numbers for each golfer on DraftKings and FanDuel? I'm in Oregon, so can only use FanDuel. Well, I have them on RickRunGood.com for DraftKings. You have to find ownership projections for FanDuel somewhere. I don't know. I can't imagine are they too far off? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I honestly don't know enough about FanDuel's projected ownerships. You just somebody out there is offering them. Kevin, I wish I had a better answer. What's for lunch, Rick? I don't know, but I'm starving. I actually got a little road trip ahead of me after this. I got to get on. So I got to eat something before I get on the road. Hey, Rick, do you ever get mistaken for Sean Evans of Hot Ones? No, I don't even know who that is. I know what Hot Ones is, but I cannot picture Sean Evans. I will have to look him up. And the other question is, do you like the Tano Goya, Trevor Werbelow sneakiness in GPPs? Yeah. So if I remember this correctly, if you sort by the 6K range and then, or filter by 6K and just sort by, maybe it's the 7K range, and just sort by the players who are gaining strokes in their last 36. Maybe it is the 6K range. How much are they? Oh, here they are. Yeah, they are basically the fourth best team in the 6K range, Tano Goya and Trevor Werbelow. They're basically tour average players. We can dive into them a little bit more. Here's Goya, who's got basically he's only missed one cut, Valspar, in his last 8 or so. Finished T11 at Puerto Rico. This is not a bad stat profile. I do want to look at how often he makes birdies. Top 100. I've seen worse. And then Werbelow, I think Werbelow is a big hitter. Am I remembering that correctly, or am I making that up? Oh, the opposite. He's very short off the tee. No, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I was right. 39th in club head speed. Very inaccurate. That's what I was picturing. Doesn't make a ton of birdies. Doesn't do anything particularly well. Just trying to see if I've got anything to. He's a decent putter for being a long hitter. A positive putter and a long hitter is not the end of the world in terms of this format. Makes a lot of cuts. Hasn't missed a cut since the Sony. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, there's a reason that they're like the fourth best team in the whatever 6K range. Pure game theory. Easiest way to get unique on DK is fading Xander and Cantlay. Yeah, like if you think like, okay, so what? So 75% of the time, someone not named Xander and Cantlay is going to win this. When they don't win, if you don't have them, you're in good shape. Why are people overlooking Steve Stricker this week? Sure, it's the Champions Tour, but he's been on a roll. Okay, so shameless plug here. RickRunGood.com has PGA Tour, Korn Ferry Tour, Champions Tour. It also has Live. It also has the DP World Tour, and it has the Asian Tour. That is 6 tours. So if you are only looking at a site that has PGA Tour data, you are not getting the full picture. Here is Steve Stricker. I agree with you. It is the Champions Tour, but he has won 4 times in his last 9 starts. He has not finished worse than T8 in any of them. And he has gained strokes in every event dating back to the 3M Open in 2021. He's partnered up with Zach Johnson, right? Zach Johnson has been playing a much more PGA Tour centric schedule, but has been okay. I think this team could be pretty good, right? They've got a lot of international experience in this format. They should not be overlooking them. In fact, if you look at the custom model, in terms of just raw strokes gained, they're number 1. Now, that's raw strokes gained. If you look at weighted strokes gained, the story is a little bit different. But yeah, it's not bad. In a small pool, do you think that Fitz is... boy. The question is Fitz's or Horschel and Burns. I would say it is it's Horschel and Burns. I think are safer, but I'm just very high on the Fitzes. In a small pool, do you prefer Cantlay and Xander plus a low 7K guy not named on or SHK, or Clark and no, the first one? Not the other option is Clark and Haas or Denny Damon. Nah, Xander and Cantlay, and then a low 7K guy like, let's see. How about Eric Cole or Sam Saunders? Can we do a little deep dive on Brendan Todd and Patton Kizzire? Yeah. Todd's made 4 cuts in a row, no better than 27th. That was at the Players' Championship. Short game specialist, don't mind that. The other one is Kizzire, who I want to check a couple things real quick. 4 cuts in a row, T10 at Valspar. I want to check a couple. Okay, so this is to me a decent complementary group. So Brendan Todd being able to put it in the fairway all the time frees up Patton Kizzire, who is very inaccurate off the tee, right? He does not have to worry as much about the accuracy, and he's a big-time birdie maker. So the consistency of Brendan Todd and his ability to putt frees up Patton Kizzire. I like that. And Pat Kizzire can putt himself. He's actually a pretty decent player. But I think that having someone steady like Todd is very, very valuable. What's the all leverage team? I'll split the 200K with you. Okay, here we go. The all leverage team is Siwoo Kim, Tom Kim, Billy Horschel, Sam Burns. Then, I don't know how much money I have left. The Stricker, Zach Johnson group. Then Saunders and Cole. I'm not sure how much I have left, but I think I have more than I think. Akshay and Harry Hall. And I'm not sure if I have enough, but Hadley and Ben Martin. Somebody like that. Good day, Rick. My buddy Steg, I like that you told me his name, has been relentlessly ripping Cantlay over ever since the slow round at Augusta. Do you see a scenario where all the heckling gets under Patty Ice skin and they miss the cut? All right. First off, I think this is very overblown. I have a couple of things. I don't like slow play either, but who cares? Right? Like, it's kind of their job. There's a lot of slow guys. I don't think that professional golf at the highest level has a slow play problem. I think at every other level, golf has a slow play problem. I don't think at the highest level they do. Cantlay is an easy scapegoat because he is boring and he doesn't talk to the media. Oh, he spent 5 minutes trying to decide whether to hit it off the bulkhead or not. Boo that man. Heckle that man. if it was Jordan Spieth and he spent 5 minutes talking to Michael Greller about that shot, it would be clipped by the PGA Tour and posted as the video of the week. That's the facts, because it's entertaining. Patrick Cantlay is not entertaining, so he gets the knock of it as well. I agree he should be able to pick a club faster and all that stuff, but I think it is way overblown. The Masters, where all of this started, they were waiting on the group ahead of them every shot anyway, right? So what's he supposed to do? No, I don't think it's going to get under his skin. What is stopping anyone in DFS from rostering X and Cantlay? Is there any leverage? Well, what's stopping them is the 40-something% ownership, right? The leverage would be, picking the winner, having the winner, like if you have Billy Horschel and Sam Burns, right? I mean, is there a scenario which Cantlay and Xander finished T11 like they did 2 years ago? Then that's not good enough. Will the Zurich Classic ever have a team of Charlie and Tiger? Probably not. Unless it becomes like a Champions Tour event. But that would be cool. I don't know what the qualifications are, right? Your partner, I think, has to have status on some tour, but not the PGA Tour. It's like the Brooks Koepka, Chase Koepka, Matt Fitzpatrick, Alex Fitzpatrick thing. So I don't know. Like, could Tiger just say, hey, I can pick anybody? Or does he have to have status or anything? Why in the course key stats, it doesn't show the full rank list of highest correlated stats to success? Like, how about the ranks before 12 from this week? I'm not sure I understand, Jeff. So here's the course key stats. Here's 12. If I understand your question, it is because there is no stat that is correlated higher than 12th for TPC Louisiana. Right? So that means at best, consecutive cuts ranks 12th out of 50. There is no stat that ranks better than that, if I understand your question. Hey, Rick, happy Wednesday. Who do we like better, the Matt Wallace team or the Andrew Novak team? Probably the Matt Wallace team. My one and done shows no pick this week. Okay. Not every one and done has a pick. Just to confirm, are we skipping it? Yes. If you're in my one and done, hold on. If you're in my one and done that started in January, there is no pick this week. If you are in the one and done that goes back to September on Office Football Pool, there is a pick to be made this week. So there you go. Billy Horschel is the most popular pick. He's 28%. Keith Mitchell, 13. Xander, 11. Cantlay, 7. Burns, 6. So basically that means Horschel and Burns are being chosen 34% of the time. Cantlay and Xander, 9% of the time. Keith Mitchell and Sung Jae are 13% of the time. Tom Kim and Siwoo, like 9% combined. There you go. If you were asked to optimize the pairings from this field of players, I get to play matchmaker. I don't know if I'm prepared for this, but boy, it's a great question. I would say it's a really good question. Like Cantlay, Sung Jae. Cantlay is going to be super pliable, so maybe I shouldn't stick with the top guys. I would say, yeah, I do like Cantlay and Sung Jae. I like Colin and Fitzpatrick. I think that'd be very good. I like Tom Kim and Sahith, I think would be pretty good. Tom Kim and Wyndham Clark, I think would be pretty good as well. I don't know. I'd have to really run the numbers on that, but that's a really good question. Who has a better shot at winning? Kim and Hostler Clark. I mean, Kim and Kim definitely do. They've actually won on the PGA Tour, right? The other two don't have wins yet. They definitely do. What is the best strategy to select teams this week? Balance stars or scrubs, or just find guys who balance each other out? I would do a stars and scrubs lineup. I think it's a very top heavy field. And if you're not going to play Cantlay and Xander, and you then play, like, you have to play them or two other teams above $9,500. You have to play two teams. You have to play Xander and Cantlay, or two of Horschel, Burns, Kim, Tagala, Im, Mitchell, Morikawa. Best 6.7 and below who has the chance of making the cut. I mean, a lot of them. Endicott and Baddeley's not bad. We talked about Lingmerth and Blixt already. Warinsky and Scott Brown. It's a pretty good team in this format. I've answered some of these. Do we know why Callum Shinkwin hasn't been playing much this year? It's that point of the week, huh? No, I'm a sicko. I like this stuff too. He hasn't played. Oh, sorry. He finished fourth earlier this year overseas. Yeah. So, Devin, I don't know. I see the same thing you do. He won the Kazoo Open last year, finished fourth in Dubai, and I'm assuming he's got a status issue. I don't know what his status is, right? Does he not have DP World Tour status? I guess he has to. He won the Kazoo Open, right? Is he hurt? Do you want me to Google it? Like, I don't want to waste everyone's time Googling it, but I'm assuming you Googled it. I'm just going to type in injury. I literally have no idea. I don't see anything. I don't know. I would love to know. I do not. Rick, what would be your walk-up song? Boy. Oh, boy. I don't even know if I can name a song. Oh, boy. Let me think about that. Oh, what's that one Post Malone song that I like? Maybe Armina will know. I don't know what it's called. I'll have to find out for you. She's typing. Oh. She thinks it's the Meek Mill song, Dreams and Nightmares. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I'm not sure that would go over well at the golf course, but she's not wrong. So my thought about Denny and Damon pretty much hasn't changed this week. I think that they're very good complementary players, right? Damon, tee to green, Denny with the putter, and Denny's not horrible in other areas. But I think this is a team that if they have to stay on script, right? You know, I talked about the scorecard earlier this week where basically, you know, I think it's the odd number holes. If you're the odd number holes, you want to be the better ball striker because you'll hit into a lot of the par fours and you will, you'll get, I think, 3 of the par threes off the tee, and then Denny gets to kind of roll the rock. So the problem will be if they get off script. I think they're in big trouble. So I think this is kind of a very high upside, low floor type team, but I think complimentary wise, I think it's okay. I love the Benyon SH Kim team. Benyon's been a great putter, drives it far. SH Kim is very well rounded. They're going to be very popular, but they should be. Deep dive on Kyle Stanley. Oh boy. I'm going to assume you're not going to like what you see. Remember that you asked for this. Oh God. Last time he finished inside the top 50 was this event last year, 38th. Yikes. He's lost in nearly every category since. Oh, sorry. I wasn't sharing my screen. You asked for this. You all asked for this. Can you run another model for us? Yes. So here's the custom model on RickRunGood.com. I have the teams loaded in. Also, I've got in Euro, Live Golf, Corn Ferry, Senior Tour. I think the way to play this is with, and I'm sure I said this on Monday. I think you have to rely a lot on weighted strokes gained total. There's just so many guys who don't have enough stats because they're not on the tour or because they don't play. Like, we've got to find something that brings everyone together. And that is going to be weighted strokes gained total. So I'm pretty sure I did this on Monday, but I have to put 50. I have to put like a lot on weighted strokes gained total. I don't think I have an option. I mean, I can pretty much remember what I did on Monday, and I'm sure it was a lot of birdie or better and stuff like that. I will do, let's do like, I do think like putting could be valuable. Actually, let's do this. You know what? I didn't do this. Strokes gain distribution. So this is, how often a player gains strokes to the field, 1 or more, 2 or more, 3 or more, 4 or more, or 5 or more. It's basically an upside calculator or an upside stat. So let's do this. I'm sure I didn't do this on Monday. Let's put 8 on strokes gained 3 or more, 8 on 4 or more, 8 on 5 or more. I want upside. Okay. And then what I will also do is, what does that leave me with? 24. And then let's just put our last 24 on, or I'll put 12 on birdies or better gains and 12 on opportunities gained. Oh, I'm short. I'll put 14 on opportunities gained. There we go. Morikawa and Homa number 1. Ben Griffin, Ryan Gerard number 2. Wow. Cantlay Xander 3, Benny on SH Kim, Kitayama Montgomery, Sung Jae Keith Mitchell, Damon and McCarthy, Hadley and Martin. Wow. Todd and Kazire 9th. There we go. And then the Canadians, Taylor and Hadwin. That's an interesting one to kind of mess around with. Tell me why I'm wrong in thinking that this unique format makes data that's not team specific inconsequential. There's a lot of negatives in there, but I think I followed you, Dan. Dan, I agree with you for the most part, because that is why I've, loaded in, the teams in RickRunGood.com. But to answer your question, because half of the rounds, they're going to play their own ball. So if you want me to tell you why that you're wrong in thinking that this unique format makes data that's not team specific inconsequential, is that half the rounds they're going to play by themselves. I researched Masters final round. Cantlay wasn't that bad. Hovland was just as slow. They were waiting. So they were both waiting. They were taking their time. Is it possible for people who don't like this format to keep it to themselves? Keep the content coming. Appreciate the positivity. I think this is, I agree with this. The people who, I just can't get behind like wasting my time to complain about anything for the most part, right? Like, just why would you spend your energy on that? Why would you, like, you have such precious energy. Why would you waste it on telling people you hate this tournament? Like, okay, you don't hate it enough to move on. You obviously like it enough to comment about it. Six of 6 rate will be pretty low. I don't know what that number is going to be, Florida card guy, but it will be pretty low. I don't understand that question. Oh, what it says? I missed the start. Was there and now the champion golfer of the year intro? I don't know what that means. What combination of golfers do you prefer here? A good ball striker and a good around the green putter? I don't think you got to be. If you're using your around the green play, you are screwed. Somebody's going to shoot 59 on Thursday. maybe not 59, but somebody's going to like shoot. There's going to be like a 60 and a 61 out there, right? Like just like go make birdies. I want birdie makers. I want opportunities gained. I want approach and putting. I want bombers. I want like elite skill sets. On DK, is there any situation where you would be playing two guys from the same team? They won't let you, right? In past years, they didn't let you. You can click the names, but I don't think you can submit the lineup. How great would it be for this team as an elevated one? What team would you want to see the most? Rahm and Rory would be freaking sick. How sick would that be? How sick would that be? What about Scotty? Who would Spieth annoy the most? Brooks? Rick, I got to disagree with the who cares about slow play. You make some valid points as why it's sometimes it's slower, but the fact that no one gets told to speed up, he says it trickles down. Again, recreational golf has a slow play problem. Professional golf, I do not think does. If you're a recreational golfer and you think it is okay to take the same amount of time as Patrick Cantlay, you're an idiot, right? You're playing for nothing. He's playing for a career. You're an idiot. So we have an idiot problem in recreational golf. Additionally, I will say this though. If they're going to have rules, they should enforce them, right? If they're going to have rules, like that's fine. I'm fine with them enforcing the rules, but I don't think what anybody's doing is outside the rules. I think that Cantlay is getting scapegoated for something that has been a problem in quotes forever. Do you think Draymond Green should be suspended for game 3? Yeah. They should also fine Sabonis, right? Sabonis like absolutely grabbed his leg. Not bad idea. Draymond Green stomped him, and Draymond Green unfortunately does not get the benefit of the doubt, right? It's like a Patrick Reed situation. Patrick Reed does not get the benefit of the doubt. He has lost that right. Other guys do. Morikawa does. Rory does. Rahm does. Like other guys get the benefit of the doubt. Steph gets the benefit of the doubt. Draymond doesn't. So all in all, out. What about bogey avoidance? Can't make bogeys here and contend, right? Can't even make pars here. So, I mean, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I don't even think, I think birdie are better because I don't want to make a pars here either. They should do the next event. They should do this next event where one PGA player gets randomly paired with a live guy. That would be pretty funny. I thought Callum Shinkwin was a made-up name. It is not. Yeah. My heart pounds when I have a 10-foot eagle putt and no one is watching. I can only imagine what that would be like with thousands of people watching and millions on the line. Take your time, Cantlay. Okay. I'm at the end of the questions. So I will wait like a couple more minutes. See if anything interesting comes through. I will point out a couple of nuggets, and then if nothing, I will get out of here because I think we've done a pretty good job. A couple of things from my newsletter, which you should subscribe to. I like looking back at some of the things that we did in the week prior. So last week, small greens at RBC Heritage was kind of a big deal. So when I went back and I just showed the guys who played best on small greens, and then I put their results in. There were some good ones in there, a bunch of top 15s. Matt Fitzpatrick was in there, a couple of ugly ones as well, like a miscut with Brandon Wu and Tom Kim and Seamus Power. So I just like to kind of keep an eye on that kind of stuff and go from there. What else did I want to show out of here? Oh, I mentioned this earlier and I showed it earlier, but using fantasy points gained, I think is super smart, right? Especially for a week like this. There's going to be so many more points scored this week compared to the Masters that not using the gained portion is going to skew things. And even when you do that, like how good has Wyndham Clark been, right? So top guys in fantasy points gained with at least, I think I did 6 starts or maybe it was 8 starts. Scotty, Rahm, no surprise. J-Day, Cam Young, Wyndham, Max Homa, Xander. Pretty good. Trying to think if there's anything else if I need in here. There's the jersey. Okay. My favorite dark horse team is the Olesen Højgaard. I don't know how dark horse they are. Outside of that, I think the Sam Saunders, Eric Cole team could be pretty good. Who's winning the NBA championship and why is it the Sixers? Because Joel Embiid is a freak who, when the Nets tried to, he's such a good facilitator. So when the Nets tried to double him, and it's, for a quarter and a half, that every time he got the ball, he was doubled, and that kind of messed them up. For him to be able to adjust on the fly and facilitate the rest of the offense with quick passes, good decision-making, and then a team that had the best 3-point rate in the league in the regular season, that's going to be deadly. Because then what are you going to do? Then you're not going to double Embiid and he's going to torch you. It's over. No, it's not, but that's their path. So Dan also says, here's the thing about the slow play situation. When they're broadcasting, they can switch to any number of other golfers for the viewer's sake. Just don't get too far behind. So there is definitely an aspect of always being on camera that shows slow play. If Scott Piercy was the slowest player on tour, you'd never hear about it because he's never on TV, right? Cantlay's in the mix in the hunt. It looks a lot worse. So the broadcast is to, quote, blame for that, but that's because he's in the mix. I agree with that. This other one says, when are you and Armina going to have kids? Never. We are out on kids. No kids for us. Do you watch any hockey? I watch playoff hockey, but I don't know who's good and who's not. I do know the Bruins are had a historic year, but I don't really. I mean, hockey is the ultimate sport of get hot at the right time, get a hot goalie and win, right? Are you attending any other tourneys this year? Okay. I'll be at the PGA. Officially, I'll be at the PGA Championship. I don't think I've announced that yet, but I just got word. I'll be at the PGA Championship. We'll have a CBS set up. I'll be at the PGA. I'm stoked about it. I don't know much about Rochester. I think Rochester's going to be pretty tough for the nightlife crowd, but maybe we'll make up for it on the LA side of things for LACC. So yeah, I'll be at Oak Hill. I'll be there all week probably, getting in Monday or Tuesday. So I'm pretty stoked about that. All right, I'm going to get out of here. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. And I appreciate you guys. We will talk soon. See you.